everybody. I don't care what Monday Night Football. Who cares? I'm always interested in the professor and the pupil. Or actually, tonight, put one in essay here. We got Candy Emily joining us as well tonight. And back usual, my partner, Steve Rice. Welcome to the big show, our big show. Ready to get it rolling, Steven?
Candy's here because technology loves me the last few weeks.
Yeah. I would say it's putting gray hairs on my head, but they're already there, but it's not helping any. Now I'm just looking to go ahead and have a longer life so that I can get you back on during the day. But it's not, in the eyes of Tommy Lasorda would say, because God delays did not mean that God deny. Well, don't delay much longer, but at least you got a Tommy Lasorda reference tonight. On night where we can use all the references we can. Anyways, glad to have everybody back on for our usual spot Monday night. Professor and people. Candy Emily will be joining us tonight. We'll bring on the Argentine gringo hopefully in a couple of weeks. Eddie Prather's out with the flu. No problem. Bring him on. And next Monday night, we have a special guest, Giovanni Bess. Boxing. We'll get into that more next week. With that said, let's get this fat puppy going. And we'll start with Hulk Hogan. Why should I start with him? There'll be a 2-mile portion of Clearwater Trail between Oak Avenue and Coronado Drive dedicated to him in that part of Clearwater Trail to be named after, you guessed it, Hulk Hogan. Governor Ron DeSantis announced this, and Hulk Hogan, who died in July, and DeSantis was speaking out at Hogan's hangout in Clearwater. So DeSantis called Hulk Hogan Terry Bollea larger than life. Candy, I'll let you take a crack at this. What do you think about the gesture that the governor is doing? Hey, Eric, glad to have you in here tonight, my friend.
Good for them. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of different areas across the states that are named for other people, whether it be, a library, or we have naming rights to all the stadiums. Why not name part of a trail that, Hulk Hogan used to live by?
Some thoughts, Steven.
It's not surprising, honestly. He was larger than life in a lot of different things. We've already discussed it on here. The positives he's done, the negatives that he put himself involved with. But a trail by where he used to used to call home, I don't have any problems with it. Would have been nice to see some of these smaller entertainment venues get named after him or something to that effect. It would be nice, especially ones that you typically see your pro wrestling shows go to. But we're not even a whole year into his death, so we don't know what the rest of the world has involved as far as honoring Hulk or Terry, however you want to refer to him as.
Oh, yeah. All Clearwater is where he lived. I have a close friend of mine that lives there. I used to see him all the time, so I'm happy that Clearwater is going to do a lot. I've driven by his bar and never really had a chance to get in there. All right, we'll continue on. We'll go back to Philadelphia. Another reason why I like Bryce Harper are his comments like these pertaining to the Dodgers overspending. Only losers complain about what they're doing, he said earlier this year. You know what, Bryce, what can I say? You're one of my favorite players. And, Steven, I agree. I mean, the reality is they only complain about what they're doing. I couldn't agree with Bryce any more than that.
What did he say now? I couldn't catch any of that.
Oh, that's okay. Bryce Harper says only losers complain about what the Dodgers are doing in terms of overspending.
Oh, okay. See, you didn't give me any context for that, so I didn't know what you were trying to say.
That's okay.
But this is and for people who don't know, Major League Commissioner came into the Phillies locker room to have conversations about implementing some type of salary caps and stuff like that, right. And he immediately told Rob Manfred to get the bleep out of his clubhouse. Whatever your team can pay for, that they feel comfortable putting into their team, they should be able to. I mean, I think there should be some type of cap, obviously. You don't want to have what I mean. Look at the Phillies; they're almost $100 million roster. You can't get out of the divisional round the last 2 years. So money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have championships.
Right.
Whatever management you have, what type of if you're a quote unquote big market team, everyone always throws New York, LA out there. I still think, Philadelphia is a big market, regardless of what sport we're talking about. And there's other cities, Chicago, in Indianapolis is a big city. I don't think Milwaukee gets enough credit as a whole, regardless of Giannis is basically redefined on that city being a basketball city. Obviously, we got the Brewers in the NLCS this year, so I'm sure Candy's got her flags out right now. But I mean, when we're talking about that loser mentality, as Bryce was talking about, listen, man, like if you're complaining about it, you're complaining to the wrong people. Go talk to your owner. Go talk to your GM. Go talk to the people who actually are locating dollars and cents here or there or wherever. Regardless if you put it into developing younger talent, or you're putting it into signing some of these potential superstars to 5, 10, 15-year contracts. I think that's kind of what more the people are complaining about, are these elongated contracts with these ridiculous dollar amounts attached to it, or what people are honestly really complaining about. I do think there should be you have to put a number on it. As much as Bryce and everyone doesn't want things to change, within the next 5 years, baseball will have some type of cap. My question will really be what will they do about some of these teams that already have, like what happened with Shohei Ohtani's contract? What's going to happen with Bryce Harper's contract? Like, how are you going to work that in? Because there's no way you're going to be able to implement some type of salary cap without doing the thing that we've already seen the NFL do, and they just get in trouble with not giving these guys big, long, guaranteed contracts and having these owners, GMs kind of collude so they don't sign these contracts, and so they can have the wording put in to eventually put in a salary cap. But I do agree with Bryce. Like, having that type of mentality is loser mentality. That would be like us as Philly fans complaining that we just lost to the Dodgers because they got all this money. They put this money here. No. They didn't play. They didn't hit. That's why they lost. It's not because how much money that team is putting there. It's not how much money they're putting there. It's about what you did on the field. So having that type of mentality, Bryce is absolutely right. That is a loser mentality. You have to go out there and perform. If you don't, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah, I applaud Bryce. I really do. Here's a guy who doesn't care what they're spending. Let's focus on what we can do on the field. Bryce Harper's one of those guys that can play in any era, period. And that's what I love about him. He can play anywhere. Candy, go ahead. I know this is loaded. And then we get done with this one. We're going to talk about Kyle Schwarber, because I'll tell you, this fits into what we're talking about. Go ahead, Can.
Bryce has a lot to say. And yes, I agree. It shouldn't matter the payroll. Let's face it. What kind of year did Juan Soto have? And he made how much money? Yes, I'm talking about a small market. We all know I'm a Brewers fan from Milwaukee. Their whole payroll, $120 million. The Cubs' payroll was $211 million. The Dodgers pay taxes of $150 million, more than the Brewers' whole payroll. So, yes. But is it a loser's mentality? Yeah. Anytime you're going to make an excuse because you did not win, it's an excuse. The Brewers are in the National League, championship series here. 23rd payroll in Major League Baseball, but yet they made it. It's not necessarily about how much you get paid. It's what you do when you're on the field. Doesn't matter what you say, what you talk about in the locker room, in the clubhouse. I mean, yeah, that has effects on it, because what I've heard is like the Brewers really are a team and a big family, and they, so that matters. Is the locker room a place to be talking about money and why they lost or who, no. That doesn't belong that time in the locker room and that kind of talk. And you shouldn't be talking about a player to it. Like, if you're going to talk about how much the team spends, the player has nothing to do with that. The player is out there to make the most money. It's a business. We've all talked about it. I want to get it paid as much as I possibly can. So does every baseball player. So
all Bryce Harper did was show that leadership, people, leadership. That's what the guy does in the clubhouse. That's why he's such an incredible player. Well, let's stay with the Phillies team.
In my opinion, when he does stuff like this, Scott, I don't mean to cut you off, but when he does stuff like this is why he's one of the faces of baseball. He may not have the rings, he may not have the championships. That's all fine and well, but he's one of these guys that he is over the last 5 years shown why he is one of the faces of baseball.
Oh, exactly. Great minds think alike, Steven. Great stuff. Eric Katz, glad you're on. YouTube is a good option too, my friend, because that's where the bread and butter is, but we're glad you're on Twitter. We're glad we're able to get out to the X Universe. So YouTube, Eric, that's where you're going to make, that's where you're also going to make your claim and your wealth and your fortune on YouTube. And that's where this show can be seen on Twitter /X, YouTube, Facebook, and all that other good stuff. Candy will get you shortly with a station break, but not yet. So here's the question. Is there any chance the Philadelphia Phillies can re-sign Kyle Schwarber? I'll go to you, Stephen. Candy will get the numbers, and then it'll hopefully convince a lot of people whether they should. I can say one thing about it, though. The Phillies do spend money, and Dave, and let me finish. Right. And Dave Dombrowski doesn't mind spending money. Go ahead.
This is a loaded question. You got a guy, obviously. They yank Kyle out of Chicago a few years ago. He's been basically playing under the contract he signed with them over the last 2.5 seasons. After the year he's had the past 2 years where he's hit more than 50 home runs, he is written his own ticket. Obviously, he loves loves playing here in Philadelphia like a lot of the guys do. But they have so many guys they have to potentially bring back, and you still have some guys in in the minor leagues they could go and bring up and put into Kyle's role. But I think he's one of those veteran leaders that you have to keep there. You have to look at some of these guys that the Phillies have to re-sign. They have to try to find a way to sign Ranger Suarez. I think he's going to be a payroll casualty. They're going to have to try to find a way to bring back JT Realmuto and sign him to another contract. You're going to if they don't sign Kyle Schwarber, you're going to see a riot here in Philadelphia. I guarantee it. Obviously, both him and Bryce haven't performed well over the last 2 postseasons. I think they're combined like 297 hitting. With one RBI or one run batted in between the two, so you have some questions there as if he can perform in October. He is, I think, one of the top 2 players as far as home runs in the postseason all time. Kyle Schwarber is, so it's like one of these things where you don't want to over analyze the whole thing. I don't think I'm the type of guy that says just give this guy a blank check and whatever he wants, give it to him. I'm definitely not along that lines. They have priorities they have to do. I mean, you've already talked about it multiple times over the past month. I still feel that relationship between catcher and pitcher is the most important in all of sports. A lot of people are talking about JT's not the guy he was that you traded here. Obviously, he's not the same guy, but he is absolutely the same guy catcher, behind the plate. So while I'm gonna say this now, I think between the two, I would prioritize JT over Kyle. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think they're going to bring both JT and Kyle back. What I would like to see is them not to overspend on Kyle and just give him a ridiculous contract. Give him something that pays him well, at least the first 2 years, and have options, for a third, fourth, maybe even 5th year to see what's what there. But I do think Davey B and Rob Thompson and the management team over there at Citizens Bank Park are going to find a way to get Kyle under contract. I do not think they let him walk. I'll say it again. I think the guy that's going to end up walking is going to be a Ranger Suarez, unless the Phillies say like, hey, we've been banging on the door since 2022. We haven't gotten it any closer since then. They may decide to blow the whole team up. We may see multiple trades, multiple moves done. This offseason. So there's a lot of question marks that ran in the Phillies. They did answer the question that managers coming back, so he's going to be at least safe to 2026. So the question is as the roster players go, who's coming back? I do believe Kyle will be back with a $20 million contract a year or more. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets anywhere between like $35 to $50 million a year, just because of how productive he's been as a player over the last 2 years.
Right.
I would just like to see him. I would like to see a team friendly deal on this one. Do not overpay for Kyle Schwarber. He's on the getting on the into those mid 30 years, and you could talk about analytics all you want. We know very few guys continue to play at that level once they get over 34, 35 years old. So be careful with what you wish for, Philly fans. Make sure it's a contract that you can live with it if Kyle all of a sudden falls off a cliff over the next 2 years. So
we'll think about
that's
one thing.
My thoughts on it. We'll see what you guys think about it.
All right, well, I'll say one thing. You love Citizens Bank Ballpark for sure, so that's obviously a place that likes to. Let's, Candy, put Michael Rango's comments up, and we'll turn it over to you. Mike's obviously a fan of the show. And go ahead, Candy, read them.
Just tuned in. While I love the fact my miserable Mets spend the cash, you can see a player's drive and management is far more important. The Mets had another yearly second half collapse. As a lifelong fan, I can't even be surprised anymore.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm sure
he's right.
He's right.
I talk about this with the guys all the time. The Mets are going to Met. They find a way to just, as they get to the back end of the season, you just watch everything fall apart. Hell, I could even sit there and say my Phillies have been trying to follow that Mets blueprint over the last few years. We haven't gotten out of the divisional round. So, I feel your pain there, Michael. Spending cash ain't always going to equal to everything, but, no love lost between us. That definitely ain't going to act like I didn't enjoy watching you guys, pull your own hair out, so to speak, during the last month of the season.
995 North. Okay. Candy, go ahead about Schwarber. I know you have some good information for us.
Well, Schwarber right now, let's face it, he's 32 years old. He had signed a 4-year, $79 million contract that expires at the end of this year, making him a free agent. He's not the only free agent, like Steven had said. But being at 32 years old and knowing what you know, like Nick Castellanos earns $20 million a year. JT Realmuto, he's up. He is earning $23 million. Aaron Nola, $24.5 million. Bryce Harper, $25.3 million. Trey Turner, $27.2, and Zach Wheeler, $42 million. So where in that range do you think Kyle belongs? And that's what you need to come up with. And then you have to factor in, yes, he's 32 years old. But the other thing, like Steven, you said, not only is it important what his play on the field is, but what kind of leader is he in that locker room? What does he do for you? What does he bring you in the locker room? Because if he's, a guy that really rallies and is a leader, you can pay him a little bit more, and that makes a difference. I kind of compare him to, on the Brewers team, Christian Yelich. Like he's that leader kind of in there, whether he's real vocal or outspoken or not, but he's that veteran that has been there and done that. I think sometimes these big payroll teams too, they feel a lot of pressure because they're in media markets that, put pressure on them. And they're like, oh, well, we've paid you how much, you have to, you should be winning. You should have results and stuff like that. Whereas the Brewers right now, they're playing loose. Like nobody expected them to win the division. No one expected them to be where they are now. sometimes with expectations, you put added pressure, and you're not playing the same game. You're not having fun.
Well, I'll say one thing. I wouldn't want to imagine him not in that lineup, because if you think he's not in that lineup, then all of a sudden the pressure on that batting order is going to be a lot worse if he's not there. Michael Arango comes back. We can share the misery together, my friend. Mike's a good guy. Let me tell you, if anybody knows about frustration with the Mets, this guy.
Absolutely can, brother. We absolutely can.
Yeah, Michael's a good friend of mine too here locally in South Florida. He's one of the nicest people you ever meet. And maybe one of these days, Michael, if you're ever interested, we'll bring you on the Professor and the People. You and Steven, I think, now you got me thinking, would be a good fit. So, Michael, if you're still out there watching, you may have a date with the Professor and the People. We'll bring you on there and put. I think that's a great idea. We'll bring him on. So, yeah, I can't imagine life without Kyle Schwarber in the middle of that order. And I'll say one thing and we'll talk about it later. Firing Rob Thompson, like many people might think, is not the answer. He's done a good job there. We'll see how this all plays off. I don't live in Philly. Steven does, but we'll save that for another night. I want to make sure you can pick up
Rob Thompson fan.
What's
I'm
that?
not the biggest Rob Thompson fan, but I don't think he's the exact reason.
Right, exactly. That's my point.
All right, like everyone can sit there like they're complaining about some of his decisions during the postseason and during the last month or so during the regular season. That's not what the Phillies' problem have been. I literally said it right on here 2 weeks ago. It's about the bats. It's about getting those bats hot at the right time. And if you're asking me, I've already said it. I think they swing too much too early. They don't try to work the counts, and they're striking out way too often. That has absolutely nothing to do with the manager. So I have no problem with him coming back this coming season. I do think you need a real hitting coach with that team. You can sit there and say a lot of these guys are professional hitters. They're veteran. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I do think there's, outside of JT and Schwarber, I think there's going to be a major change on what this team looks like going into to 2026.
We'll leave it at that. Or unless you have something you want to add, Candy.
Hey, Candy got one for us.
Water on time. I'll get through this stuff. If he doesn't, we can keep going.
It's going to be quick. I just want to say the designated hitters that are also out there that are going to become free agents: Marcell Ozuna, Jock Peterson, Andrew McCutchen, and Elroy Jimenez. There's not a ton of designated hitters.
Andrew McCutchen is a guy I definitely think you could see. And here's another one. I think if you guys want to make it a run, go to a World Series, fall short, win a World Series, I think there's a good possibility that former first baseman Rhys Hoskins could potentially come back, especially if they let a guy like Nick Castellanos walk. Especially if they let a guy like, if they find ways to kind of maneuver things and get and free up some more money to bring in a guy like that to put Bryce back out there in right field. He moved to first base because of the injury he had, and he wasn't going to be able to make those throws from the outfield. It just so happened that Rhys's contract was up. He winds up going down there to Milwaukee. I think it was a smart move for him because obviously he was going to lose a lot of playing time in the bats with Bryce Harper being at first base. You weren't going to see Rhys Hoskins go and play out of the outfield over 100 games during the season. It wasn't a logical thing that's going to happen. So I think the writing on the wall that Nick Castellanos is gone. Do not be surprised if we steal your first baseman, Kane.
The only thing I'm going to say about Rhys Hoskins, Milwaukee was the biggest, smartest, shrewd decision Brewer made. I'm moving on from that topic before I put my foot in my mouth. I run behind on the schedule. It's okay. Luckily, Paul Perry will be on in a couple of weeks, and of course, our regular contributor Eddie Fraser will be on in a few weeks. So that sets Steve and I and Candy up to the show. Having a good time talking about the Phillies. We're not done yet. We'll go to one more topic, and then we'll go to a station break. A few more good ones coming up though after the break. Roki Sasaki, in Japanese, by the way, because he's an interpreter. I'm being jeered by Phillies fans. I don't understand English anyway. I just pitch without paying attention to it, meaning the boos. I'll tell you one thing. You know how to ignore them? Don't understand the language. You don't even care. It's okay. Booing is not like some of these fast food places where you have a symbol, okay, and everybody knows what it is. I don't understand you. I'm just pitching. I'll tell you one thing. You talk about a guy who's got ice in his veins. Roki Sasaki? Great stuff, Roki. Steven? Now he's got
I mean,
ice in his
listen,
veins. I'm kidding with you.
We seen Nick Castellanos said before they headed out to LA that Citizens Bank Park sometimes it could be for you, it could be against you, and sometimes it plays a factor into it. I think a lot of times when you have some of these international players and they don't know exactly what's being said to them, it is to their advantage that they just say, hey, they're just saying some nonsense to me. I don't even know what they're saying. It's just coming out as gibberish, and you can just concentrate on what you're doing. Then you have those guys that American-born players where you got the Philly fans and they're chirping back and forth with one another because you can have that dialogue with them, so you might be able to throw them off. You also might be antagonize them to the point where you're giving them fuel to the fire, so they go out there and put it on us. So, I mean, as far as he goes, I mean that's the exact right approach to have it when you're playing in a hostile environment like Citizens Bank Park as you're a visiting team. What was it for love of the game clearing the mechanism, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you just concentrate on you the big catcher and just play your game. That's some guys say that's them having ice in their veins, whatever. I think as a pitcher, the less distractions you have in there is to your advantage.
Well, Roki Sasaki, you just reminded me of. I'm going back to one of my favorite programs, Hogan's Heroes. Everybody, how many people remember that show? Oh my gosh, Sergeant Schultz, definitely one of my favorite characters. Right? I know nothing. I know nothing. You know what? In the eyes of Roki Sasaki, I know nothing. But in Japanese, he really doesn't know anything. He don't even care. Go ahead, Kathy.
Now, I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't know what it is at this point. Come on, yeah, you are from Japan, but really do not know a boo or versus a clap. Now whether you use it to motivate you to do better. I get sometimes you can't understand sometimes what fans are chanting. Sometimes it's really hard, especially with the rest of the crowd noise. But to not know if they're booing or cheering you, I find that a little hard to. But as a pitcher, as a player, whatever you do to motivate yourself, whether it's to block out all the noise. Now, I will say that Ryan Braun has come out and before the last Brewers game and said that the crowd definitely does make a difference, at least for him and for that team. So I don't know. You always see if you go to these stadiums, they have this meter where they, go and say, how loud can you get? Get louder, get louder, get louder. Does it motivate people? It does some. Can some people block it off? Sure.
I'll tell you one thing as we go to a station break. Roki Sasaki, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm with you, man. You're better off. Because if you don't know anything about the language, then all you need to do is have ice in your veins. That's why this made it such an easy topic. We're talking about the Phillies and the Dodgers.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Let's go Brewers. Get them Dodgers out of the playoffs.
There you go. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I am doing, though. I'm going to a station break, and Candy Heveling is going to deliver it.
Lessons from the microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It was written by Scott. Our host, the Motor City Madmouth Morgan Roth, talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has changed and evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, click it, like us, and share us with all your friends and family, anyone you know that would like any of our programming. And then do me one more favor. Click the notification so you're notified when we go live so you can come in and be in our chat and be interactive. We love all the fans talking and questions as long as they're on point. But If you want to advertise or sponsor any of our shows, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can email us at southfloridatribute@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
Well, Candy, if you're looking to get a laugh out of him, you definitely did that. I'm proud of you. I'm going to tell you, on the air, you've come a long way. That's all I have to say about you. I'll tell you, if you heard what she was like on Saturday, then I need a researcher. I need a quality person. This girl is it. I'll tell you one thing I will say about Candy, though, all kidding aside, when somebody once told her that we had a juvenile website, remember, go ahead and tell the story, Candy. I want to hear this one because this is really great. Everybody ought to know about this woman. She's just truly unbelievable. Go ahead, Candy. I want the story. We have time for it. 3 more topics before we go to 108 Stitches Baseball Talk in a bit. Go ahead, Candy.
When we had just started out, we started out as a website and only as a website. And we started talking to different people about partnering up and doing different things. And we went into this place and the guy looked at our website and he goes, your website really looks juvenile. And I'm like, he's like, I could help you, he goes, you can pay me and I can help clean it up. And I'm like, I could, or I could take that feedback back and I'm going to go change it up and make it my own. And sure enough, that's what I did. And that's where we're at now is and I'm all self-taught. Like I didn't know how to build a website. I didn't know how to, do any of it. So learn as you go, change, be willing to change with the times.
And I should
I'm with
out,
you there, Candy. I'm with you there. You get these idiots. They think they know everything. I still get people talking shit like you're a fake media member. I'm like in order to be fake media member, that means like the interviews I'm not doing aren't actually going anywhere. Right. I'm not conducting interviews. I'm not writing articles. That would be a fake media member. I'm like, I think you might want to redefine what you're trying to call me. You could sit there and say I'm not a good one, but a fake one, no.
Right.
Well, let me tell you this, okay?
You're always going to have. Go ahead, brother.
Well, here, number one, the last time we went by the guy's place, he's out of business, so that goes to show you that how juvenile it was. And if you're a fake media, then I'm kind of picking stupid because I don't bring on fake people. I know what the heck you've taught me in the first place. The last thing I even knew about a darn real people when I was growing up as a kid with those little movie projectors, that was real. I didn't know a darn thing until Reichel went out there and taught me about these things, and all of a sudden I figured it out. And now I become a gunslinger. Well, I'm going out there and trying everything on the planet because of the guy wearing that hat over there, wearing that green shirt. I would tell you, Reichel taught me a lot.
Well, you gotta get off. I got something else I want to show you too.
Well, all right, but I'm sure you will. I'm getting there. But let me tell you, I'm a gunslinger because you, Reichel, because number one, I'm willing to try anything to see if it works. And I'm sure you'll believe me now. All you have to go to last Thursday night when I went out there and brought on Jacob Christner and Rachel Galvin and did an entertainment show that's drawing pretty good numbers. So let's not kid you. The South Florida Tribune is not just a sports channel. We do everything, and I'm willing to roll the dice.
And we don't pay to have our content get more eyes on it. We let everything happen organically.
Exactly.
Great. I know a lot of people they pay to have their post boosted or this video boosted so it gets more views, likes, etc. We're not one of those people. Whatever the numbers are going to be, they're not fake. They're not fake people. They're not paid promotions or anything like that. We do everything organically.
Yeah, I don't buy YouTube subscribers. I don't want them to buy them. I feel like our content's good enough to be able to generate our own, and I think that it's not quantity, it's quality, and that's what I've seen other people do. I'm not singling anybody. I'm just saying we want quality content. I spent a lot of hours putting these shows together, and I'll tell you one thing: as long as you sign yourself with a good team, like I have, and we're getting better as you'll see more and more new faces come into this picture. We want our regular content to be organic. I want great people like Michael Arango probably be headed on the show. People, Eddie Prather's a classic example. Anybody that wants to come on, we're always more than welcome to bring on a new face. Well, this is, real. And that's why when you have Candy embracing the challenge, Steven's taught me anything. I didn't know what a reel was before, but now I know. I'm not talking about a reel or a fishing reel. Although maybe I do use a fishing reel to find talent and maybe go out there and, but you get the idea. That's all I'm saying. You didn't want to dwell on it, but, I couldn't help myself. And that's why we went this direction. All right, 3 more topics to get to. And Stephen, we talked about this before, and we'll talk about it again. That the Ravens signed defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the practice squad. Obviously, desperate times, desperate measures in Baltimore to bring him on. Maybe this guy can figure it out there. Steven?
He needs to learn how to keep his personal thoughts to himself and, hold himself accountable for some of these things. Obviously, he got himself ran out of town here twice here in Philadelphia. Didn't last in Detroit either. Winds up only playing 3-4 games for the Texans before D'Amico Ryan says he had enough too. I think Baltimore is the type of defense though where he might actually thrive in. He might actually be able to play the safety position the way he feels like he needs to. A lot of the stuff that came out in the media that he was upset about, he wanted to play, have opportunities to get after the quarterback, to play closer to the line of scrimmage, not to just play coverage. But he still has to get better at that, because I still feel a lot of times he does put himself in bad positions or take bad angles and allow big plays from time to time. So I hope he winds up making a home down there in Baltimore. I just hope that he learns from his mistakes, not talking about who's making this much money, who's making that much money, which is a big thing. As what you said. I'm not going to call him a cancer. I can't, because I've seen too many people sit there and have good things to say about the type of teammate that Chauncey is. So I'm not going to call him a cancer. I will say you could say that he's not a team player. He's a me guy, a stat guy in that sense. But I'm not going to sit there and call him a cancer, because I do think he has leadership qualities to him that you can't get out of other guys. He has what do the kids now say, swagger or stuff like that. He has that type of mentality for him. It's these other things that winds up getting himself in trouble, and he winds up wearing out his stay. So I'll agree with half of your statement there, Rich. Not a cancer, but I will give you that he may not be a team player.
Well, he says C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a locker room cancer, is what he's saying. Meaning is.
Yeah, that's where I'm disagreeing with him. I don't think he's a cancer, but he's not a team player. He's not. Let's be honest. He's a stat guy. But even where I'm sitting there saying a lot, the main thing that got him right now is he's talking about players' contracts. Who's making this much? Who's making that much? Right. That's like an unspoken rule. We don't talk about it. But we ain't counting guys' stacks in their pockets. That's not how you guys play football. So you could say that again, I would still fall that under not a team player, not a locker room cancer. Okay. A locker room cancer isn't somebody who has those special qualities that he has. That's not who he is. He's not a complete and total diva. I don't think that he is. I could be wrong. I don't have all the all the rumors, tidbits, and stuff like that goes on in the locker room. But from what I've seen, from what players have said to him, to him about him, here in Philadelphia, that's not been the case. I just think when he gets something in his head and he has to get it off his chest, of how he goes about doing that is what tends to get him in trouble. I don't think that's a cancer. Again, I think that is not a team player. So,
well, I'm glad you reclarified your position. No, I think it's a great position. I'm glad you reclarified it. All right, Candy.
I think one of the things that we've seen, especially lately, is that players can't bring that kind of stuff out into the media and be outspoken talking about it. There's a time and a place, and players need to learn where the time and where the place is to have those kind of conversations. Just like at this point, honestly, I think Tua is a cancer down in Miami for what he said this weekend about his players and not playing up to their, Like, you don't say that to the media. If you want to have a team meeting and talk to the players inside that locker room, you do so. But there's time and a place, again, for some of these conversations. And you've got to be very careful. As a leader or as a veteran that people are looking up to, you need to show that you are one of those leaders, and that, you're not taking this kind of stuff out into the media, especially during the season. Like, you don't need other distractions. You need to show what you can do on the field. These distractions are fine for off season, but not for during the season.
Well, I'll say one thing here. Number one, Tua will be a topic on next week's edition of Inside the Pigskin. So we will use it then. But I'm glad Canty was able to relate it to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. No problem. Well understood. Great stuff, Canty. All right. As Darius Smith retires, I guess there might be some good hindsight that maybe that's why Dan Campbell didn't want to bring him on. Had a good 11-year career, and Dan Campbell could have had him all summer long, but went to Philadelphia. So what are your thoughts about Darius Smith retiring, Stephen?
It's rough, man. We're now, in my opinion, Howie Roseman has to make a move now. So, he needs help on his defense. You lose a guy like Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is, I think, 5-6 sacks already this season. I think when he left, he had the most sacks on the team with a sack and a half, as far as the edge rushers go. So the Eagles are not getting after the quarterback this year. Losing a guy like Darius Smith is a big thing, especially when we were just talking about that guy in the locker room, that leadership quality. I felt like bringing him in would kind of help balance that out of losing a guy, like a Brandon Graham off of your defense. So, having him retire like that out of nowhere, it definitely stings. But it in my opinion, I think Howie Roseman should be working the phones, looking for another cornerback, looking for another edge rusher. We'll see what happens to some of these teams who are going to be falling out of competition. Whether it be that they have an injured quarterback, they've accrued a handful of losses, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more moves done by Howie Roseman, especially because, as we were talking about coming into the season, the Eagles have the most ever draft picks accrued. I think before the season started, I think it was 13 for this coming year's draft. So I think they have some capital where they can go and go get a guy. We'll see what happens, but that stings. I mean, regardless of it being a mid-season signing, he's only here 3-4 games, and he's already done. It's a tough pill to swallow. So we'll see what the Eagles do to counter that. But 11 seasons in the NFL, I'm sure he had his reasons, and from what I'm hearing, they was personal. Has nothing to do with what's going on here in Philadelphia. So
right.
If your mind and heart's not in it, it's always the right choice. Hope Darius finds some things to keep his mind and his body busy as he goes into retirement.
Well, maybe the personal part has to do with getting out of the game while he's still healthy to do it and be able to hang out with his kids or whatever. That does happen. The guy's had a pretty good career. It really has. And and he did go on record saying that now. This is not a Philadelphia thing. It's just something and he had to ponder it over the summer, wondering, are my playing days roll? The Philadelphia Eagles are classy enough to give him a chance. Albeit they needed him. But I respect the decision. I wish him well. Katie, anything you want to add? One more topic coming up after this, and then we'll have 108 Stitches baseball talk coming up at approximately 8:40 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern time.
How can I not say something about one of the guys that he played for 6 different teams, but the team that he had the most success with was my Green Bay Packers. Back in 2019, he had 13 and a half sacks. In 2020, he had 12 and a half sacks. Yes, this year he's only played in 5 games, 1.5 sacks. Kudos for him for going out on his terms. Yes, it probably really hurts as an Eagle for him to go out mid-season like this, but he obviously has his reasons. like Steven said, if your heart's not in it, this is a dangerous game. And if your head and heart aren't in each game and you're out there, you're putting yourself at risk and others at risk. So, he had a great career. Kudos to him for going out on his terms when, he thought it was time. So sad for the league because he's a good player.
He sure is. Well, I wish him well. Final topic of the night. An 85-year-old, get this, Chuck Norris just hiked Lassen Park, which went 10,457 feet at 85 years of age. He reflected on the mountain's recovery from the 2021 Dixie Fire and noted the changes in the landscapes. My gosh, Stephen, really? Seriously, really? This guy going 10,457 feet at 85 years old? Oh, goodness, man. More power to Chuck, though. Can you believe that?
I couldn't understand anything you were saying. And they were talking about Chuck Norris.
An 85-year-old climbed a mountain, and it was Mount Kilimanjaro, right, Scott?
No, Lassen Park. I don't know if it's Mount Kilimanjaro. They got Lassen Park.
Oh, Chuck Norris on October 25th. Chuck Norris in October of 2025, he hiked Lassen Park, a 10,400-foot volcano.
There you go.
Hey,
Steven.
man, Chuck Norris is a special dude, man. He's one of the few high-level American mixed martial artists that we have. But as he's gotten older, man, he finds a way to keep himself busy, and this is probably one of those things where he wanted to test himself. Hats off to Chuck for keeping himself busy in that way and making sure he's just not one of these old guys withering away into the sunset. So,
well, I do love that, man. And as we go, give Candy your 2 cents. We're going to go into the sunset with this topic and go to baseball. But, man, I was glad we got Chuck on here. That's what makes a professor and the people to show that it is we're willing to talk about pretty much anything out there and put it in the national spotlight. Candy?
So he climbed the 10,457-foot volcano in Northern California, reminded the world what grit looks like. I mean, he's 85 years old. The hike is not some leisurely stroll. It is a 5-mile round-trip climb that gains about 2,000 feet in elevation with winds, volcanic rock, and views straight out of a postcard. Chuck said he was heartbroken to see the lingering scars of the 2021 Dixie Fire, but still blown away by the park's raw beauty. He has lived near the area for years, so this was personal for him. Kudos to him. Like, it sounds like this was one of his bucket list items that he was always wanted to do. And he went at 85 years old and he went and did it. Kudos for him. Like, we all should have bucket lists and at 85 be able to do what we have on that bucket list.
And you know what? Thanks to Stephen Reichel, I get to do mine because he's a pupil. He's going to make sure I can do it by being sharp on his game. And I'm going to end my portion on that with a great transition from Chuck Norris. Stephen Reichel did an awesome job. I really owe him a debt of gratitude knowing we were able to take a cruise and be able to go overseas. And this guy filled in very admirably. Next time, I'm expecting better results and admirably. Once I send him these shows and he studies all the people on our team that we've worked diligently, Candy and I and Stephen have worked diligently. So unbelievable show tonight. Glad we had a lot of participation in the chat room as well as our share of YouTube people that all fair share of people that tuned in on all the different platforms. What's that?
So big shout out to Mike and Rich for chatting in.
Yeah. And Eric Katz, Michael, and Rich, thanks for being in the chat room tonight. Very much appreciated as well. These guys are superstars. I'll have to reach out to Michael Ringo, get him on there. Rich, you have an open invite. Eric, I can see you in a little while, so it doesn't make any difference. So, but meanwhile, what a great show tonight. Steven, what's on your agenda this week? Do you have any idea what it is other than Inside the Pigskin tomorrow night?
As long as technology is good to me, yeah, we'll definitely be on tomorrow night for Inside the Pigskin. Let's caught up on some football over the last few weeks. Hopefully get back on the air with Marvin and Ben Wednesday morning. Looking to get back on and doing some real in the rare and get some of these combat sports athletes on here. I know me and you have already discussed about potentially bringing some of the combat sports athletes here on the Professor and the Pupil. So, any of these athletes that are going to be available Sunday nights, Monday nights, we're definitely going to be looking to do it. Obviously, you've already announced that we're going to be having one of the local boxers coming on with us next week. So a lot of fun stuff going on. We're getting closer to 1 million views on the YouTube channel. We're approaching 900K views. I've only been here since May. We went from 64,000 views to almost 1 million views in less than a calendar year. I couldn't be happier or more appreciative to our listeners, to people who are engaging, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitter, however you want to refer to that, however you contribute, please, just make sure you like, subscribe, share when you see the videos go out. Show us some love, and share them with your followers, your listeners, so for lack of a better term. And let's continue to grow. We're gonna have some more fun stuff going on in the coming weeks. Like I said, the giveaway aside, we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff over the rest of the football season. We're going to be having Vince Papale coming back. We're going to be having Irvin Fryer coming back. We're less than a month away from our Ricky Waters interview. We have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out of the channel. So again, guys, just make sure you guys are locked in and do not miss out. Doesn't matter if it's here Monday with me and Scott, if it's Thursday night with the stuff that Candy does, if it's Saturday mornings with Scott and the baseball crew. Make sure you guys are tuned in and locked in and checking out the content we have coming out, whether it be long form in the chat room with us or your comment and sharing on the shorts and reels that go out through the various social media channels. We appreciate everyone's support. We're going to continue to be doing here. We're going to be continuing to grow in here, and we're going to be doing our thing the way we do it. So appreciate Scott for the love as always, and we'll see what the next few months hold.
Well, a few other things I want to add while we still have you on the line. Number one, kudos to Jeremy Bulrick, who's done an outstanding job on Thursday night on Fire Up as Candy Eveling's co-host. This guy's done an unbelievable job. Marvin Paul, in addition to what he does on Inside the Pigskin, has risen to the top of the food chain here on Wednesday night. They're one of my top people on the Sports Exchange as well. So, and another guy to watch out for is JJ Metz. And I'll tell you, this kid's a 14-year-old phenom, and he's on the country club with Fire Up as well. So I gave you what's on, but I'll tell you, Steven, you ought to pop into that Fire Up show if you ever get a free minute on Thursday night and realize, I know you went out there and had a different group when you were doing it, but this is a much different group than you dealt with before. These people got, and I'll tell you one thing about Fire Up and Candy, who's a host of that show. This show topped the charts last week with all of our shows on that. And you know who she had? She had JJ Metz and Bulrick. Can you imagine if I ever brought Bulrick on a show with you and I personally? I couldn't bring him on Inside the Pigskin. I'll never make my 2-hour limit. It's either one or the other. I couldn't put you both on. There's no way. I would never make the 2-hour limit with you two. And besides, we have a good group over there. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't rule out Bulrick one of these days on Monday night. It'd be a different animal if he ever gets a chance. But I'll tell you, watch out for that Fire Up group with JJ and Jeremy, because I'll tell you, they do a good job. And Marvin Paul's been a stud, man, when it comes to Sports Exchange, and as well as some of the other people you have on there. So great stuff. Candy, one more station break. We got in 108th Edition Baseball Talk in a little bit with our great all-star crew. Go ahead, Candace, take us home.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the media business and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Yeah, get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, why haven't you subscribed to us yet? What are you waiting for? Do it now. Click it, like, share us, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified whenever all of our great programming goes up live. And if you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But you're always welcome in our chat room. Please, we love it when our listeners are live and interactive with us. We love the good questions. So do it. Then if you're shy and you just want to send us, email us your questions, you can do that too. But if you want to be a guest, hey, at one point, I'm going to be honest, I would never seen me doing this. But look where I am now. I have my own show. Scott boasted that it was the best show, had the best audience last week live, the best numbers. So if I can do it, hey, anybody, you guys, come on. I want to see some of these people come, more action in the chat room. You can do it. I know you can.
You know what drives me crazy? You know what drives me crazy about what you just said?
What?
My brother Lonnie said you're a better broadcaster than I am. You know what I might have to do? I might have to agree with him a little bit because you've come a long way, and I'm done. I am done, but we're not done for the night. Stephen Reichel is always awesome job on Monday night. We get him back tomorrow night on Inside the Picture and have a lot of stuff there. I have enough content that I could do 2 separate Inside the Pictures of college and pros. So I think the thing I like to do is juggle these shows and try to balance them out every week and put this puzzle together. It makes it a lot of fun because I don't want to burn anybody out. I just like to keep everybody interested to see what I'm going to come up with. That's another big addition this year before you sign off is Tom Shanahan of the Shanahan Report. Tommy, what he has done to that show, Inside the Pictures, unbelievable. Now he's coming on Sports Exchange a couple times with Tom Shanahan, the Shanahan Report. We bring a lot of great people in. These are some of the ones that stood out tonight. So on behalf of Stephen Reichel and Candy Ebeling, my name is Scott Morgan. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Professor and the People. Tomorrow night, Inside the Pigskin. In a little bit, we have 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of the Monday night. Bye now.